In the heart of a rapidly industrializing America, there was a man who would redefine wealth, power, and the very nature of business. His name was John D. Rockefeller, an individual whose vision and determination turned him into the wealthiest person in modern history. But how did a boy from a modest family become the king of oil? This is the story of John D. Rockefeller's rise to power. Born on July 8, 1839 in Richford, New York, John D. Rockefeller came from humble beginnings. His father, William, was a traveling salesman with a reputation for dubious dealings, while his mother, Eliza, was a devout Christian who instilled in him a sense of discipline, frugality, and moral integrity. From a young age, John showed an exceptional aptitude for business. He was fascinated by numbers and kept meticulous records of his family's finances. He understood the power of organization and was determined to make a name for himself. In 1855, at the age of 16, John D. Rockefeller moved to Cleveland, Ohio, where he took a job as a bookkeeper for a small produce commission business. His first taste of the business world showed him the power of organization, and more importantly, the power of controlling the supply chain. But Rockefeller's ambition was far greater than just counting numbers. As the United States was entering the age of industrialization, a new industry was emerging: oil. Oil was becoming essential for fuel, lighting, and machinery, and it was a commodity that could transform fortunes. Rockefeller saw an opportunity to control the production, refinement, and distribution of oil. In 1863, Rockefeller co-founded his first oil refinery. His method was simple yet brilliant: focus on efficiency, cut out the middlemen, and vertically integrate the entire process. He invested in railroads to control transportation, barges to transport oil, and pipelines to refine it. By 1870, he had officially formed the Standard Oil Company, which would soon dominate the oil industry. Rockefeller wasn't afraid to use aggressive business tactics. He negotiated secret deals with railroad companies to secure lower transportation costs, and he undercut competitors by offering them better terms, forcing many to sell their businesses to Standard Oil. Through clever alliances and strategic purchases, Rockefeller controlled the refining process from start to finish. His empire grew exponentially, and by the 1880s, Standard Oil was refining over 90% of the country's oil. As Standard Oil expanded, so did Rockefeller's power. He had created a monopoly, a company that controlled not only the production of oil, but also the transportation and distribution of it. With the power of his wealth and influence, Rockefeller shaped entire industries, dictating prices and controlling markets. Rockefeller's wealth was not just about the scale of his empire, it was about strategy. He reinvested his profits into expanding his business, acquiring ironworks, coal mines, and other industries that fed into his oil operations. By maintaining control over so many different sectors, he became untouchable. His wealth soared into the billions, making him the richest man in the world. Despite his immense wealth, Rockefeller's methods drew criticism. Many Americans viewed him as a ruthless businessman who used monopolistic tactics to destroy competition and drive prices up. The public began to see him as the symbol of the negative effects of big business. The government stepped in, and in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the dissolution of Standard Oil, ruling that it was an illegal monopoly. In 1911, Standard Oil was broken into several smaller companies, including Exxon, Mobil, and Chevron. Rockefeller's empire was divided, but the damage was already done. His wealth remained vast, and his influence continued to shape the future of the American economy. In his later years, Rockefeller turned his attention to philanthropy. Having amassed a fortune that would be worth hundreds of billions today, he began giving away much of his wealth to causes such as education, healthcare, and scientific research. In 1913, he founded the Rockefeller Foundation, which continues to fund projects aimed at improving global health and education. Though his legacy was marked by controversy, it was also defined by his efforts to give back to society. By the time of his death in 1937, Rockefeller had given away over $500 million, an extraordinary sum that laid the foundation for many important institutions. John D. Rockefeller's life was one of ambition, ingenuity, and transformation. From humble beginnings, he became the wealthiest person in history, shaping industries, economies, and even the very nature of business itself. Though his methods were controversial, his impact on the world remains undeniable. Rockefeller's legacy lives on through the companies he created and the many lives he touched with his philanthropy.